flipper down in the left corner. Banking it against McGill. Whips it past the lane. Three from the right for the lead. It's good! Rams up one. 3.6 on the clock.
I asked the guys, I said, who wants the ball? And his exact words, I want the MF ball.
Gets it up top to Queen. Dribbling left. Big step down the lane. Runner for the win. Banked it in! He banked it in! He banked it in! And Maryland is going to the Sweet 16.
This is the first time since 2007 and fourth time since 2000 that no team seeded 11 or lower made it to the Sweet 16. There will only be 4 conferences represented in the Sweet 16, 3 fewer than any other year since the round was introduced back in 1975. Coach, there he is. No Cinderella run. Is this good or bad for the tourney?
The reality of what we're living today with NIL or pay for play, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be the future. There's never been deep runs. Yeah, you've had the VCUs, you've had the Loyolas. But here's the deal. Mid-major colleges now and mid-major basketball is basically the G League. And if a guy excels in a mid-major program, he's going to go from the G League to the high majors, which is basically the way it is. Mm-hmm. Or you could say that the mid-major programs now have become junior colleges. Spend 2 years at a mid-major, excel, play well, put up numbers, and you know what? You're going to get a chance to get paid in a Power 5 conference. That is the reality of the business and the culture that we live in college athletics today, and it's not going back.
Jay?
Coach, I agree with everything you just said. That's exactly what's happening. The really good players that were at the mid-majors, now the UConns and the Dukes and all those other schools are grabbing them up. They say, you know what? They ain't got no money, but we got $250,000 for you. Come on over here. And most of these guys come from situations that's less than favorable. Hey, it's hard if I'm a 19, 20-year-old kid and somebody's going to offer me $250,000, Coach. I don't know how you grew up, Coach, but I got to hit you with these 22s. I'm up out of there. And that's what you get. You get what you get now. And like you said, it's the same thing in football. It's spread out now. You're not going to have these one school dominant, this one conference dominant, because there are a lot of schools that have money, and they're going to pay these guys that jumps in the portal. I got no problem with it. You get what you get. It's nice to see a 15th seed make it to the Sweet 16 or make it to the Elite 8. But I think as we move forward, guys, I think we're going to see far fewer and fewer of those situations happening.
If this continues, it will be the death of college basketball. Because college basketball, listen to what I'm saying, Coach, this has no effect on the allure of college basketball during the season. But March Madness, the madness of March, owns sports for that 4 to 5 week period beginning somewhere in March through the early part of April. Owns sports. NFL season is done. The draft is approaching but hasn't arrived yet. The NBA playoffs are approaching but hasn't arrived yet. Baseball season is just getting underway. Other than opening day, you ain't really thinking about it. March Madness, the NCAA tournament is where it's at. What I'm talking about when I allude to such a drastic, hyperbolic statement, albeit in some people's eyes, is I'm talking about the NCAA tournament. No matter what's going on during the college basketball season, if you're in Durham, you're looking at Duke in North Carolina, you're in Raleigh, you're looking at NC State, you're down and you're in the Pac-12, you're looking at Stanford, you're looking at UCLA, USC, people like that, not them anymore, not in that conference, but you hear what I'm saying. My point, Michigan and Ohio State, Big Ten, all of this other stuff. But the NCAA tournament is where it's at. And what is the appeal? What is the allure? Anybody has a chance because of Cinderella. That's what gravitates you. So when we have something, a system in place that says it's compromising that. If there was no NIL, if there was no trade portal, Shay, right? And you have zero, the mid-majors go 0-6 in the second round. Please, we ain't sweating that. But when you're able to point to rules that have been implemented that ultimately shows itself to have inflicted upon the game itself, that's dangerous. Because what you don't want is a situation where nobody has a chance because those players from the mid-majors, like y'all said, you know what, we're going to get some money from Kentucky. We're going to get some money from UConn. We're going to get some money from some other program that we can't get them in. You don't want that to be the reason you have these kind of results in the NCAA tournament. If people continue to get to point to that, then college basketball as we knew it, which to me is all about March Madness, will cease to exist because there's no madness.
Yeah, Stephen, I agree with you, but, the transfer portal works both ways. Like, you looked at what happened with McNeese State. You had a bunch of high major guys transfer down, and they won a game in the NCAA tournament. Nick Clifford from Colorado State, all right? He was at Colorado. He transferred over to Colorado State. They won a game in the NCAA tournament. So, it's going to be the job. And I literally was trading text messages with a couple of mid-major coaches. Their job is to find the best D2 guys, or the best job is to find a low Division I guy that can basically transfer
hold that
to
thought,
a
Coach.
mid-major.
Hold that thought. What I'm saying to you, Coach, is this. I get that point. You know that because you're an aficionado. I'm saying, come NCAA tournament time, people who don't watch, don't know anything about basketball, are paying no attention, filling out brackets. They're talking about it at the water cooler, in the office, and everywhere beyond. Everybody's involved because it's the madness of March, and anybody could have a chance. If that element is stripped from us watching the sport, now you're in trouble. That's all I'm saying. Nothing else.
Let me ask you a question. Was NC State a Cinderella last year?
Yes.
All right. They were a Power 5 conference team that played their way in through the conference.
No, I'm not saying it hasn't happened, though, Coach. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm saying what we're talking about right now, if it continues and the reasons that you and Shannon articulated is the reason it continues, that's going to dissipate the allure. That's all I'm saying.
Good. Yeah.
Go ahead, Shannon.
And plus, Coach, you throw on top of it, top guys are leaving. So we don't have a chance to wrap our arms around a Christian Laettner or Grant Hill or the guys that used to stay 2 and 3 years or went all 4 years. Guys are one and done. So it's hard. Now you see the uptick in the women's game because we get to watch Caitlin Clark for 4 years. We're going to get to watch Juju for 4 years. We get to watch all these super exciting women's ball players for 4 years, where we used to watch the men for 4 years. Okay, so now you take that away. Now you take a situation where a guy that plays at a mid-major, and he's really good. He's giving you 25 and 5. He gone. He ain't spending 2 years there. He's gone. Hey, you mean to tell me Kansas or Kentucky or one of these big D1 schools, these Power 5 schools, is going to give me 200, 300,000? Coach, he's not staying.
Look, I agree with what both of you are saying. As long as we have the automatic qualifiers across the board, you're going to give one of those teams eventually an opportunity to have that win. The intrigue that you were talking about, Stephen A. Now, look, if we go 2 or 3 years and we don't have any of it, it'll be interesting. And the other thing, as long as there's gambling, there are going to be eyes on the tournament.
Oh,
true.
Yeah. Are there more than eyes?
That's true, Coach.
It's not just the men's players that are moving around, guys. A quick take here for you. Quite the turnaround season for Haley Van Lith and TCU. The Horned Frogs beat her former team Louisville 85-70 to advance to the Sweet 16 for the first time in program history. Shannon, talk to me.
She's unbelievable. She spent her first 3 years at Louisville, had success there. She goes to LSU, not having success there. And she goes to a program in TCU who were horrible. They were terrible. Might have been one of the worst teams in women's college D1 basketball. And what did she do? She's player of the year. She's newcomer of the year. And now she's got them out the Sweet 16. She's sensational. She is amazing. Unfortunately, she didn't play like this with LSU. Whatever the reasons were, I don't care. All I know is what she's doing now is that she looks like the Haley Van Lith that was at Louisville.
All right, coming up, Steph Curry is a human highlight reel. What does the crew have to say about his latest spectacle? Steph being Steph.